You are a prisoner. The cold deck plates of the Conqueror's throne ship vibrate beneath you. A low hum echoes through the metallic halls. This is the sound of an empire at war. An empire that has already won. Your world is gone. Your fleets are shattered. You are the last relic of a defeated people. Chained in the heart of their power, the warship Indomitus. You sit before the throne. Upon it rests Marshal Vorlag. He is the architect of your extinction. His form is all sharp angles and armored carapace. His eyes, a cluster of cold, black lenses, stare down at you. They hold no malice, only a chilling, absolute certainty. You are a problem that has been solved, a variable now accounted for. His voice crackles through the ship's air. It is a sound like grinding stone. You are the last one, the final specimen of your species. Your archives have been assimilated. Your star science is now our own. Your strategies have been dissected and found wanting. He pauses, his massive head tilting. Yet, one aspect of your civilization remains inefficient, illogical. It is a weakness we must study. You wait for the pronouncement of your fate. A quick end in a disintegration field, a long one in a labor camp. It does not matter. Hope is a luxury you can no longer afford. But the Marshal's next words are not what you expect. They are not an execution order. They are a command, and a strange one at that. He points a clawed digit at you. You will show me this weakness. You will demonstrate this human folly. Take the prisoner to the galley. It will perform its ritual of consumption. You are escorted from the throne room. The guards' armored feet echo your own weary steps. They guide you through corridors of polished obsidian and glowing circuitry. This ship is a monument to cold, brutal efficiency. Every line is perfect. Every corner is sharp. There is no art here, no comfort, only purpose. Finally, you arrive at the galley. The doors hiss open to reveal a room of sterile chrome. It is less a kitchen and more a laboratory. Nutrient paste dispensers line one wall. A reclamation unit hums in the corner. It is a place designed to sustain life, not to enjoy it. Everything is automated, precise, devoid of the beautiful chaos of a human kitchen. There is no scent of spice, no warmth of a hearth. The Marshal enters behind you. His presence fills the small room. He gestures to a pristine counter. Your archives speak of a process, a ritual you call cooking. You mix organic matter. You apply thermal energy. You create specific chemical reactions. For what purpose? Your nutrient paste is far more efficient. He looks at you. His multi-lensed eyes seem to zoom in, analyzing your every twitch. You will prepare a human meal, he commands. His voice is flat. I wish to understand this flaw in your design, this wasteful expenditure of energy and resources. Show me the source of your people's sentimentality. Show me why you cling to these pointless traditions. You stand in the sterile galley. The warlord who destroyed your world has just ordered you to make him dinner. And in this moment, a flicker of something you thought was extinguished returns. Not hope, defiance. You look at the alien warlord. His request is absurd. It is a mockery. But it is also an opportunity. You have no weapons, no allies, no power, but you have memory. And you have this one final, ridiculous stage. You will not fight him with lasers or torpedoes. You will fight him with bread. You survey the galley. It is a sterile nightmare. Yet, it has the basics. A thermal unit for heat. A hydration spigot for water. The ship's nutrient stores are vast. They contain the broken-down components of every edible thing the Imperium has conquered. With a little work, you can find what you need. You requisition flour, yeast, salt, simple things, the building blocks of civilization. The marshal watches your every move. His guards stand like statues at the door. He observes as you measure the flour, as you coax the dormant yeast to life with warm water. He sees you knead the dough on the cold metal counter. The rhythmic motion is a prayer, a memory of a home that is now only dust and echoes. You work the dough, pushing, folding, turning. You are not just making bread. You are rebuilding a world in miniature. Soon, a new scent fills the sterile air. It is an aroma the Indomitus has never known. The warm, comforting smell of baking bread. It is a scent of hearth and home, of community and family. It is an act of rebellion more profound than any battle. It is a declaration that even in defeat, humanity endures. You also prepare a simple soup. Root vegetables from a forgotten, conquered world. Broth made from replicated protein, herbs you painstakingly identify from their chemical signatures. The aroma strengthens. It curls through the ventilation systems. It is a ghost haunting this machine of war. The guards shift uneasily. Their helmets cannot hide their confusion. The marshal remains motionless. His black eyes track the rising loaf in the thermal unit. He is analyzing, calculating, trying to fit this new data into his cold equations. But some things cannot be quantified. You plate the meal. A thick slice of crusty bread. A simple bowl of steaming soup. It is a peasant's meal. A soldier's meal. It is an offering of all that your people were. You place it on the counter before the conqueror. You have no words. The food will speak for you. This is your defiance. This is your last stand. Waged not on a battlefield, but in a kitchen. The marshal looks down at the offering. He does not move for a long time. His multifaceted eyes study the steam rising from the soup. They examine the texture of the bread's crust. To him, this is merely an experiment, a curiosity. He is the victor. You are the vanquished. This offering is nothing more than a final, pathetic gesture from a dying race. He picks up the spoon. It is a simple metal utensil, but it looks fragile in his massive, clawed hand. With a slow, deliberate motion, he dips it into the soup. He raises it to the intake valve below his faceplate. A soft hiss is the only sound as he consumes the liquid. There is no reaction, no change in his posture. He is a machine processing fuel, nothing more. Then he reaches for the bread. He breaks off a piece. The sound of the crust crackling echoes in the silent galley. He brings it to the same intake valve. He pauses. The scent, now so close, seems to give him a moment of hesitation. It is an illogical reaction. Scent is merely the detection of airborne particulates. It should not matter. But it does. He consumes the bread. You watch him, your heart a cold knot in your chest. You expect disgust. You expect dismissal. You expect him to declare the experiment a failure, to confirm that human sentiment is a fatal flaw. But instead, there is only silence, a long, heavy silence that stretches for an eternity. He has consumed your memory. He has tasted your defiance. And now, nothing. Finally, he speaks. His voice is the same grinding stone. But there is a new element to it. A trace of something you cannot identify. The chemical composition is suboptimal. The energy transfer is inefficient. The process is needlessly complex. He recites his findings like a scientist reading a report. He confirms all his initial hypotheses, and yet he does not stop there. He gestures to the empty bowl, to the last crumbs of bread on the plate. This sensation, it is not logical. The nutrient data does not align with the input. He turns his gaze back to you. The black lenses of his eyes seem to whir. as if trying to solve an impossible puzzle. You will do this again. You will demonstrate this human folly tomorrow. I must acquire more data. He turns and sweeps from the galley. His guards follow, leaving you alone with the lingering warmth. A seed of confusion has been planted in the mind of a god. And you are the one who planted it. You now have a new purpose. You are no longer a prisoner waiting for the end. You are a storyteller, and your medium is food. Each day, the marshal returns to your sterile galley, and each day, you prepare him a new piece of your shattered world. You become an archaeologist of taste, sifting through the Imperium's vast databanks of conquered species. You find approximations of Earth's bounty, grains from a peaceful agrarian world, fruits from a jungle planet now strip-mined for its core. You cook him the stories of your dying race. One day you prepare a feast of celebration, a roasted bird, or the closest alien equivalent, stuffed with savory herbs and dried fruits, served with brightly colored vegetables. You tell him, without words, of human joy, of festivals and holidays, of families gathering to share in their good fortune. He eats it all. His only comment is a demand for the caloric count. Another day, you serve him a dish of mourning, a slow-cooked stew, dark and rich, made with tough cuts of replicated meat, tenderized over hours of patient simmering. It is the food of comfort, the meal one shares after a loss. It speaks of shared sorrow, of the quiet strength found in community. He analyzes its protein structure. He declares it an inefficient use of thermal energy. But he cleans the bowl. You make him the simple, hurried meals of a working life. Flatbreads filled with spiced meats and crisp greens. The kind of food you eat on your feet. A quick bite of fuel and flavor in a busy day. It tastes of ambition and perseverance. He notes the suboptimal fiber content. You make him the complex, delicate dishes of love. A dessert of spun sugar and light cream. A confection that speaks of courtship and romance. Of moments so sweet, they feel like they could last forever. He asks for its chemical composition. With every meal, you are rebuilding your culture inside his war machine. The sterile galley is no longer a laboratory. It is a classroom. The aromas of your cooking become a familiar presence on the bridge. The guards no longer look at you with cold indifference. They look with a new, unsettling curiosity. You are the anomaly, the strange variable in their perfect logical world. And you are changing it, one meal at a time. The marshal continues his daily ritual. He comes to your galley. He eats your stories. He leaves with a new list of analytical questions. But slowly, something begins to shift. His questions change. They move from the purely scientific to something else entirely. Something personal. It starts subtly. One day, after a meal meant to evoke a family dinner, he pauses. Your archive files on social structures are incomplete, he says. His voice is low. This concept you call family. The data is contradictory. It is described as a biological imperative, a support network, and a source of significant conflict. Explain its tactical advantage. You are taken aback. He is not asking about nutrients or calories. He is asking about love. You try to explain. You talk about parents and children, about the bonds that tie people together, about the illogical, inefficient, and utterly essential nature of it all. He listens, his head tilted. The black lenses of his eyes give nothing away. This is not a logical arrangement, he concludes. Emotional attachments create vulnerabilities. They compromise operational effectiveness. And yet, he does not dismiss it. He simply files it away. A new piece of the puzzle he cannot solve. Another time, you prepare a simple dish from your own childhood, something your mother used to make. The taste is a ghost on your tongue, a memory so sharp it almost brings you to tears. After he eats, he stares at the empty plate for a long time. Your respiration rate increased, he notes, a statement of fact. Your ocular fluid levels rose. The meal triggered a strong emotional response in you. Why? You tell him about your home, about the memories attached to that specific combination of flavors. You speak of tradition, of recipes passed down through generations. You describe a connection to the past that has nothing to do with data and everything to do with identity. Heritage, he rumbles, testing the word. The preservation of outdated behavioral patterns. It serves no evolutionary purpose. But the way he says it is no longer a declaration. It is a question. He is starting to doubt the perfection of his own logic. The conqueror is becoming a student. The changes in the marshal do not go unnoticed. A being like Forlag is a creature of pure, predictable logic. His entire race, the Imperium, is built on that foundation. They are a civilization of perfect strategists, of beings who conquered their own emotions millennia ago. To them, sentiment is a disease, a corruption, and you are the source of the infection. Whispers begin to circulate through the Indomitus. At first, they are quiet. Confused murmurs among the lower ranks. They smell the strange, organic scents wafting from the galley. They see their supreme commander, the architect of 1,000 victories, spending his time with the last, pathetic specimen of a conquered race. It is not logical. It does not compute. The whispers grow louder. They reach the ears of the marshal's second-in-command, subjugator Kyle. Kyle is the model of an Imperium officer, ambitious, ruthless, utterly devoted to the cold calculus of power. He sees the marshal's daily visits to the galley not as a study of a weakness, but as a symptom of it. He sees you as a poison, a subtle toxin corrupting the perfect mind of their leader. You hear the whispers yourself. The guards who escort you now carry a new tension. Their grips are tighter. Their silence is heavier. One day, as you're gathering supplies, you overhear two of them speaking in their harsh, guttural language. You have learned enough to understand. He spends another cycle with the creature, one says. The marshal is changed. His orders are less precise. The other replies, his voice a low hiss. Subjugator. Kale says the creature practices some kind of mindcraft, a psychic poison hidden in its food. The paranoia festers. To the crew, you are not a cook. You are a witch. You are performing some dark human magic. You are weakening the marshal, weakening the Imperium. They believe you are a threat, a far greater threat than when you had a fleet at your back. Because you are not attacking their ships. You are attacking their philosophy, their very identity. Subjugator. Kale begins to watch you. His gaze is a physical weight. He is waiting for the moment to strike, to purge the infection, and to take the power he believes the marshal is no longer fit to wield. Then, the message arrives. It comes through the ship's comm system, a burst of encrypted data from the edge of the Sol system. It is a report from an Imperium deep space scout. A new human fleet has appeared. It is a pathetic collection of repurposed freighters and old museum ships, a cobbled-together ghost fleet. It is the last stand of your people. A final, doomed offensive against an unbeatable foe. You learn this news from a guard's careless remark. Your foolish species is about to be erased for good. He sneers as he shoves you towards the galley. A final fleet charges our blockade. They will be vaporized by the time you finish the marshal's little snack. The words hit you like a physical blow. You thought you were the last. But there are others. Others who are about to throw their lives away in a futile gesture of defiance. A cold despair washes over you. All your efforts here, this strange war of attrition, fought with spice and memory, feel pointless. What good are your stories if the last of your people are about to be silenced forever? You slump against the galley counter. The sterile chrome feels like a tombstone. Your fight is over. You have lost. But then, a new feeling rises from the ashes of your despair. A fierce, desperate resolve. You have one meal left. One final chance to make the marshal understand. This cannot be a meal of joy or sorrow. It cannot be a meal of celebration or remembrance. It must be everything. It must be the sum total of human existence in a single, desperate plea. You will not cook for the marshal who conquered your world. You will cook for the being you have seen glimpses of. The one who asked about family. The one who is beginning to question his own perfect logic. You begin to work with a feverish intensity. This will be your masterpiece. Your final sermon. Your ultimate weapon. You will not be cooking him a meal. You will be cooking him a soul. The soul of humanity. You will force him to consume it, to understand it. And you pray, to a God you no longer believe in, that it will be enough to save the last of your kind from utter annihilation. You begin your work. The galley becomes your sanctuary and your battlefield. You command the ship's replicators with a newfound authority. You are no longer requesting ingredients. You are demanding them. You are orchestrating a symphony of flavor and memory. This is your final, desperate act. The feast of what it means to be human. The first course is the ocean. You synthesize a clear, cold broth. It tastes of salt and brine and deep, ancient beginnings. In it, you float delicate strands of a sea-green plant from a distant world. It represents the primordial soup, the dawn of life on Earth. It is the taste of potential, of 1 billion years of evolution leading to this single, desperate moment. It is a reminder that all life comes from the same humble start. The second course is the land. You bake a dense, dark bread, not the simple loaf from your first day, but something more. It is filled with nuts and seeds. It tastes of soil and sunlight, of the harvest and the hunt. Alongside it, you serve a spread made from fermented legumes, a food of patience and transformation. This is the taste of civilization, of humanity putting down roots and building something greater than itself. It is the flavor of persistence. The main course is the fire. You take the finest replicated protein the ship can create. You sear it at an impossibly high heat. You char the outside, creating a crust of complex, bitter flavors. But you leave the inside tender and warm. It represents humanity's duality, our capacity for destruction and our core of compassion. You serve it with a sauce made from fiery peppers and sweet, cooling fruit. A balance of passion and control, of war and peace. The final course is the stars, a dessert of impossible delicacy. A sphere of chilled, sweet cream, as white as a distant nebula, encased in a shell of crystallized sugar that cracks like breaking ice. It is filled with tiny, bursting spheres of tart fruit juice, each one a tiny explosion of flavor. Like a supernova on the tongue, it represents hope, aspiration, the eternal human desire to reach for the heavens, to explore the unknown. You work for hours. The galley fills with a complex tapestry of aromas. The guards watch you through the viewport, their faces a mixture of awe and fear. They have never seen such focus, such intensity. When you are finished, you have not just prepared 4 courses. You have distilled an entire existence. You place the first course before the marshal's seat. You wait for him to arrive. This is it, your last plea, served on a plate. The marshal enters the galley. The scents hit him first, a complex wave of aromas that his analytical mind struggles to categorize. He sits, his massive frame seeming to shrink in the suddenly sacred space. He looks at the first course, the clear broth of the ocean. He says nothing. He simply consumes it. You watch his posture, a subtle shift, a slight relaxing of the rigid lines of his armor. He moves to the second course, the dark bread of the land. He breaks it, and the sound is different this time. Not the crackle of a curious experiment, but the respectful snap of a shared ritual. He eats, and you can almost see the gears turning behind his black lenses. He's not just processing nutrients. He is processing the story, the taste of soil and sun, of building something that lasts. Then comes the main course, the fire. He cuts into the seared protein. He tastes the balance of the char and the tender core, the fire of the sauce and the coolness of the fruit. He is tasting conflict and resolution, the very essence of struggle and survival. He puts his fork down. For the first time, he looks directly at you. And for the first time, you do not see a conqueror. You see a being in the grip of a profound revelation. This is what we lost, he whispers. The sound is like rock grinding to dust. My people, we were not always like this. The archives speak of an age of chaos, an age of feeling. We deemed it inefficient, a weakness. We purged it. We perfected ourselves. He looks down at the plate. We did not perfect ourselves. We hollowed ourselves out. He consumes the final course, the dessert of the stars. He tastes the sweet cream and the bursting fruit. He tastes aspiration. He tastes the illogical, inefficient, beautiful human desire to reach for something more. A single, audible click comes from his helmet. It is a sound you have never heard before. He is deactivating the external dampers on his vocalizer. He is letting you hear his true voice. You fight to protect this, he says. His voice is deeper now, resonant, full of a sorrow that is millennia old. This connection, this meaning. We fight for conquest, for logic, for an empire of perfect, empty silence. He finally understands. He understands what his people lack. He sees that in your illogical, emotional chaos, you have something his perfect empire has lost forever. He tastes not just food. He tastes true connection, and it shatters him. Just as the revelation settles in the quiet galley, the doors hiss open. Subjugator. Kyle stands there, flanked by 2 elite guards. His stance is aggressive. His hand rests on the hilt of his plasma sidearm. He has been watching, waiting, and he has seen enough. Marshal. Kyle's voice is sharp, cutting through the heavy silence. Your behavior is treasonous. You fraternize with the enemy. You have been corrupted by its alien influence. Kyle's gaze flicks to you, filled with cold hatred. This creature has poisoned your mind with its primitive rituals. He turns back to Vorlak. I am relieving you of command, Marshal. For the good of the Imperium. The fleet requires a leader who is not compromised by sentiment. The 2 guards raise their pulse rifles, aiming them directly at the Marshal's head. It is a coup, here in the galley. The heart of the ship has become the stage for a mutiny. The Marshal, Vorlag, does not even look at them. He is still staring at the remnants of the final course, at the empty plate that held the stars. You are wrong, Kale. Forlag says, his true voice resonating with a newfound power. I have not been poisoned. I have been cured. He rises slowly from his seat. He is taller than Kyle, broader, more imposing in every way. The authority he carries is not just rank. It is a weight of ancient wisdom, newly remembered. You see this food as a weapon that has weakened me. Forlag continues, gesturing to the table. You are a fool. This is a mirror. It has shown me what we have become. An empire of ghosts. A race of calculators with no soul to feed. He turns his gaze to his second in command. You speak of treason. The true treason was forgetting what it meant to live. We traded our hearts for efficiency. A terrible bargain. Kyle scoffs. Your weakness will be our doom. The human fleet approaches. They must be annihilated. An urgent chime sounds through the ship. A synthesized voice announces from the comms panel. Alert. Hostile fleet will be in weapons range in 5 minutes. Kyle's face twists into a triumphant sneer. You see? The primitives charge to their doom, and you sit here, lost in nostalgia. Your command ends now. He draws his plasma pistol. Surrender the command codes, Forlag, or we will take them from your corpse. The tension is unbearable. The human fleet, your last hope, is minutes from obliteration. The conqueror who could save them is at gunpoint. It is all about to end in fire and death. But Forlag is calm. He looks past Kyle, as if seeing something far away. He sees the ships. The desperate, foolish, beautiful ships, filled with people fighting for their homes, for their families, for the right to make these very meals. He raises his hand, not in surrender, but to access the command interface on his gauntlet. Kale's finger tightens on the trigger. The code's Forlag. Now, the Marshal looks at Kale, his ancient eyes filled not with anger, but with pity. You still do not understand. Then he speaks into the ship-wide comms. His voice booms through every corridor, every deck, every corner of the Imperium fleet. It is an order that stuns an entire galaxy. All ships, he commands, stand down. Cease fire, I repeat. Power down all weapon systems. Do not engage the human fleet. Silence. A stunned, absolute silence descends upon the Indomitus. Kale freezes, his pistol aimed, his face a mask of disbelief. The guards lower their rifles, confused. Through the galley's viewport, you can see the other Imperium dreadnoughts. Their immense weapon ports, which had been glowing with deadly energy, slowly go dark. The order is unprecedented, inconceivable. It goes against every protocol, every instinct, every fiber of the Imperium's being. What have you done? Kale whispers, his voice trembling with rage. This is madness. On the main view screen, you can see the human fleet. The small, desperate ships continue their charge, unaware. They are expecting annihilation. They are preparing for a glorious, final death. Instead, they are met with nothing. A wall of silent, waiting giants. The command sends shockwaves not just through the fleet, but through the very foundation of the Imperium. The war, for now, has stopped, because a warlord tasted starlight in a bowl of cream. The stalemate is fragile. The human ships, confused, have halted their advance. The Imperium fleet hangs in space, silent and dark. Forlag's order has been obeyed, but his authority hangs by a thread. Kyle and his loyalists are contained, but the entire command structure is in shock. This is where wars are lost. In moments of indecision, but Forlag does not hesitate. He turns to you. This is not over, he says, his voice low and serious. This is the beginning. An order will not erase centuries of conquest. My people need to understand. Not with data, not with logic, but with this. He gestures to the table, to the remnants of the meal. Summon my war council, he commands to the ship's internal system. Their presence is required. In the galley. The command is, if possible, even more shocking than the ceasefire. One by one, they arrive. The highest-ranking officers of the Imperium fleet. Beings of pure military might and strategic genius. They enter your small galley, their armored forms crowding the space. They look at their supreme commander. They look at you. And they look at the dirty dishes on the table. Their confusion is a palpable force. This is not a war room. This is a kitchen. Vorlag stands at the head of the small table. He does not sit. For generations we have sought perfection, he begins, his voice echoing in the confined space. We have conquered. We have assimilated. We have grown. But we have not prospered. He picks up the plate that held the dark bread. The taste of the land. We have forgotten the soil from which we grew. He gestures to the remnants of the fiery main course. We have embraced the fire of war, but forgotten the warmth of the hearth. He explains what he has learned, not just from the food, but from the stories behind it. He speaks of family, of heritage, of the illogical strength found in connection. The other commanders listen, their expressions unreadable behind their helmets. They are beings who deal in logistics and kill probabilities. He is speaking to them of poetry. It is a language they have not heard in 1,000 years. He then issues his terms, not to humanity, but to his own council. The war is over, he declares. We will not destroy humanity. We will learn from them. He proposes a treaty to be negotiated not in a sterile chamber, but here, at this table, over the remnants of a meal that changed the course of history. A treaty signed not with ink, but with a shared understanding. The War Council is stunned into silence. Peace is negotiated over a dinner table, and you, the prisoner, are at its center. The war does not end with a final, glorious battle. There is no epic explosion, no triumphant victory parade. It ends quietly, in a galley filled with the lingering scent of cooked food. The Imperium, a civilization that spanned 1,000 star systems, changes its fundamental directive. The age of conquest is over. The age of discovery, true discovery, has begun. Vorlag's order holds. The treaty is drafted. It is a strange document, full of clauses about cultural exchange and shared meals. Subjugator, Kael and his followers are removed from power, not through violence, but through a vote of the newly enlightened council. They are reassigned to deep space exploration, a quiet exile where their cold logic can chart empty space, far from the messy business of living beings. The Imperium develops a new hunger, not for territory, not for resources, but for experience. They send envoys to the remnants of humanity, not to demand surrender, but to ask questions. They want to learn about art, about music, about the ridiculous, inefficient, and utterly vital things they purged from themselves so long ago. They seek to understand the civilization they almost destroyed. Humanity, in turn, is saved from extinction. They are baffled by their enemy's sudden change of heart. They are suspicious, but they are also alive, and they have a chance to rebuild. The first tentative steps towards a new future are taken. A future where the galaxy's most ruthless conquerors have become its most eager students. All because their leader was served a meal that reminded him of what his people had lost. You are no longer a prisoner. Your chains were removed the moment Vorlag gave the ceasefire order. You are now the most important person in the galaxy. You are an ambassador, a teacher, a diplomat whose primary tool is a frying pan. Your small, sterile galley aboard the Indomitus is no longer a kitchen. It is the first human embassy in the Imperium. Vorlag, no longer calling himself Marshal, comes to you not as a commander, but as a student. He asks you to teach him. And so you do. You teach him and his council, and eventually his entire race, the things they have forgotten. You show them how to bake bread not just for sustenance, but for the joy of sharing it. You show them how spices are not just chemical compounds, but memories of distant lands and histories. You teach an entire empire how to truly live. You show them that strength is not just found in logic and efficiency. It is found in community, in tradition, in the shared, beautiful, illogical chaos of a meal enjoyed together. The war that was meant to end all of humanity instead ended in a kitchen. And you, the last prisoner, became the architect of a new and better age for the entire galaxy. You did not win the war. You taught the victors that they had already lost,